Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to talk about The Mandalorian Season 1. I just finished watching the final episode today, so if you haven't seen it, go check that out, and then you can check out my review to see if you agree with me or not. And look, if we agree or not, it doesn't really matter, because all that matters is what your opinion is, and this is just my opinion. If you're interested to know what I think, here it is. I really enjoyed this season from start to finish. Were there a few bumpy roads along the way? Maybe a little bit. But for the most part, I really thought it was a really well done series that gives me faith in the future of Disney Plus when it comes to these Marvel and Star Wars TV series. Definitely, they're putting a lot of money into these shows, high quality, and I'm really loving it, what I've seen from this first series so far. The Mandalorian is played by Pedro Pascal, who some people might remember from Game of Thrones. He played the Viper. He is also going to be in Wonder Woman 1984, playing oh man, what Maxwell Lord? Now I remember what the name was, and he was also in Kingsman, the sequel of Kingsman, the Golden Circle, and so in this series, I don't want to spoil anything for the finale, but you don't really see his face. Maybe I kind of spoiled it. I don't know, but look, I think the way the character is and where he progresses, I think there's some really great character development throughout the series and how he grows. Because at first, when he meets this baby Yoda that has captured the world by storm, everybody knows about Baby Yoda now. It's interesting to see how much he didn't really want anything to do with it, but then how much he grows to care for this little infant, and it shows that's kind of the progression of this character, someone who was kind of not really cold-hearted because he always had a heart, which is why his morals told him to protect this kid, but how he eventually warms up to him and treats him like a little buddy eventually down the road. So I really did like that progress, and yes, Baby Yoda is adorable. If you've seen the show, everybody wants to buy a Baby Yoda now. I want to buy a Baby Yoda. My mom is barely a Star Wars fan. She likes the films. She thinks they're fine. She never cared much for the prequels, but Baby Yoda she loves. I'm gonna say that, and my brother's girlfriend is, or soon-to-be wife, is was never really a Star Wars fan before, and she started watching The Mandalorian mostly because of Baby Yoda. So, Baby Yoda can, I think if you're not a Star Wars fan, I think you can watch this without having to watch anything else because it does stand on its own really well. Although if you know the time frame that the show takes place in, it's fun to know what's going on in the larger universe during this specific time. For those of you that do know or don't know, this series takes place roughly maybe 4 or 5 years after Return of the Jedi, after the original trilogy. And so during this time, the Empire is no longer ruling the galaxy. The rebels are not ruling the galaxy. Also, there is the New Republic, but the New Republic hasn't really done anything big enough to really show that the universe is changing. So the world is kind of in chaos a little bit. There's no ruling as of right now. People are just doing what they want. I did like seeing a little bit of the Empire. We didn't really get to see too much of the rebels and what they were doing during this time. Gina Carano plays a character that was part of the rebels, but then eventually left them. I really liked her character. I liked a lot of the supporting cast. Carl Weathers was great. I forgot the actor's name right now, but he shows up in the last 2 episodes as the leader of the Empire, Moff Gideon, who not leader of the Empire, but leading that team anyways to find the Mandalorian. There's a great twist with him at the very last episode that I thought was jaw-dropping. If you watch Clone Wars or Rebels or you know a lot about Mandalorian culture, there's something in the final episode that will have fans really excited for a season 2. I'll say that. Yeah, a lot of the cast, the supporting cast was really great throughout the series. I hope we get to see a lot of them more, like Carl Weathers and Gina. Um, I said her name not too long ago. I hope we get to see more of them. My least favorite episode of the season, though, was probably the 5th episode where the Mandalorian goes to Tatooine and runs into that bounty hunter wannabe. And Ming-Na Wen is in the episode too as a bounty hunter. I liked her as the character, but when it came to the Han Solo wannabe, he was like they tried to make him a little bit like Han Solo. I don't care what the character's name was. He was an actor. His acting wasn't even that great, and it's funny because he just came out recently in an interview attacking the Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, dude, just sit down and shut up because you have no right to attack anything because you want to talk about something that should be attacked. I don't like putting down actors, but I mean, when they act like assholes like that, that's where I say, okay, maybe you're fair game. For the most part, though, look, I really thought this show was great, and I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you should be really loving this show right now. I think it's everything a Star Wars fan would want. It captures that Western type of feel that the original Star Wars trilogy had, specifically the original film. And yeah, I think there's a lot of Easter eggs that are a lot of fun to catch. Sometimes there's obviously an episode, like episode 5, or chapter 5, which is what they call it. They call it chapters, not episodes, which is kind of a little weak episode. Episode 4 kind of grew on me. I definitely will say episode 2, 3, and the last 2 and 3, and 7 and 8 were my favorite episodes of the series. Everything else was really good too, except for episode 5. So with that being said, guys, yeah, that's my opinion on the entire series. I am looking forward to season 2. I know they announced that it's already beginning production, which gets me excited. I hope Jon Favreau sticks with the show. I think he is the glue, and Dave Filoni, who produced Clone Wars and Rebels, I hope he continues on with the series too, because definitely a lot of the Easter eggs and connections to the overall universe, I have a feeling a lot of that came from him, and that's why he was brought on board. Plus, the Mandalorian culture was explored in those 2 shows, in those 2 animated shows. The Mandalorian made their debut in film and television was in the Clone Wars TV series. There were episodes that focused on them. And then Rebels, one of the main characters was a Mandalorian. And I'll leave it at that. I was thinking of spoiling something, but then I said, nah, I can't say that. But yes, watch those 2 shows if you want to. With The Mandalorian, you can look online and see what episodes focused on the Mandalorians. But Rebels, I feel like, because one of the main characters is a Mandalorian, check out the entire series of Rebels. It was a good series, and I think a lot of people would enjoy it. Because it really stayed true to what Star Wars was and had a Star Wars feel. Yeah, it was a really cool series. So, with that being said, look, if I were to rate this series out of 10, this season, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was really strong, with some small gripes. So with that being said, I'm not going to bring down the whole season because of one episode. And even that episode wasn't entirely terrible. It was a good episode, just with some downsides. So with that being said, I hope you guys comment below and tell me your thoughts on The Mandalorian. I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe to my channel, support me if you can. It's always great when I get feedback from people who give positive feedback, and sometimes constructive criticism is welcomed as well. You know, I know my videos are not perfect, so it's always good to hear people give me advice on what they think I can do to improve my videos. I'm always listening to those ones a lot too. So until next time, everybody, take care.